What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today we're watching Salad Saiyan. What if Frieza was good? Ooh wee. Okay, what if Frieza was good? Um, yeah, we've been watching part 6 and part 7 today, and so we'll get into it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and there you go.
Separates from Cooler's attack, the Dragon Balls are gathered too. For once, Yulong actually found use for the Dragon Balls. A while back, he kept that one that he got basically as a novelty, but here he could use Shenron for once. Although it's probably good that this is the first time they've had to use Shenron for this, and hopefully the last time, with the wish being made to bring Goku back to life. That wasn't too big of a deal for him too, because he just spent that time with King Kai. It was only a few days he was dead, but still, it's good to be back. Now he has a new task. Try to unlock that same form again that he got before. He has no clue what it was, he just knows he transformed and got really strong. King Kai told him it might be some sort of legendary form called the Super Saiyan or something like that, but even he didn't really know for sure. Maybe that's why all the other Saiyans ran away. Goku's sure they'll come back someday. Eventually some more ships do arrive on the planet because not all of Cooler's army is there. This time it's a smaller group, but the people there are still pretty strong. It's the Ginyu Force and what looks to be someone related to Cooler and Yulong. That must be his father. Ten, Krillin, Yamcha, and Chaozu face the Ginyu Force, and it's actually not too tough for them, while Yulong goes to confront King Cold, not even needing his full power. Cold says he hasn't come here to fight. He actually tries to appeal to his son. Especially with Cooler gone, he needs someone new to rule his army. He always wanted Frieza to be the one to do that, and he really should rejoin his family. But Yulong tells Cold that he's not family. He lets King Cold know both of his sons are dead, but he'll join them soon. Cold's confused by this because he's looking right at Frieza. In Yulong's eyes, Cooler actually did kill Frieza. He just didn't realize that it birthed Yulong in the process. King Cold chuckles at this. So he's still in denial. But really? Is he not just as cruel as Cooler? He killed his own family as well. He still has that blood within him. Maybe he still retains that cruelty and doesn't realize it. But amidst his taunts, he's silenced. A single blast from Yulong kills him. He goes over to the rest of the group and sees that they defeated the Ginyu Force as well. And in one last attempt at winning, Ginyu tries to body swap with Yulong. But Yulong simply glares over at them, and the ground below the Ginyu Force erupts, finishing them all off. Yamcha says those guys were pretty tough. Even that green guy, he had a pretty unique ability. Thankfully those abilities aren't in the hands of a stronger person. Otherwise, they'd probably have some trouble. Yulong does take his training more seriously now, and his growth rapidly starts to accelerate. He knows himself now, and that self isn't Frieza. He could choose to do what he wants with his power. The curse of the strength from a tyrannical family will be a blessing for him, as well as his friends and Earth as a whole. The dreadful Cold family gave rise to Earth's strongest warrior, Yulong. And he's only just starting. He already has grown considerably, but now without those mental blocks he had before, and more motivation on top of that, he'll achieve new heights really quickly. A few more months pass. Even though the Red Ribbon Army was defeated, Jiro barely was able to make it out of there, and of course he wants revenge on Yulong. So he's been working on some androids. And he has way more data than before. And it's not just the quantity that's increased, it's the quality too. And this affects a lot of his current projects. He doesn't need to make as many androids because the first few that he makes, they're actually pretty successful. We'll be seeing this in a bit. Also around this time, there is no time traveler or heart virus.
Oh.
I'd say Goku lived a much healthier life in this scenario thanks to Grandpa Gohan never dying. He now actually lives with Goku at his home with Chi-Chi, Ox King, and Gohan, the other one. We don't know the direct cause of Goku's heart virus, but one popular theory about it is it came from how Goku lived as a kid, and it's just been dormant since then. He did kind of live like a wild animal after all, but thanks to his healthier lifestyle here, and not having to live on his own, we'll say he doesn't get the heart virus. At least according to that theory of its origin. Goku's got a happy home with a lot of people living there. As for Yulong, he still lives at Kame House. He's grown used to the lifestyle there, and it's pretty nice. And Roshi's glad to have him around too. One day while sitting on the beach, Roshi sees someone paddling on a boat, coming right to their island. Must be someone here for Yulong again, because this kinda happened a while ago, but it's died down ever since. Yulong's been out of the spotlight for a while, so this has happened less and less, but occasionally people would come here to try and train under him. But back then when this happened, he didn't really want to train anyone. Nor did Roshi at that time. Yulong then flies out into the ocean, grabbing the boat and taking it to shore. On the boat, there's a goofy-looking man who looks pretty terrified because his boat was just flying. And he looks at Yulong and doesn't really recognize him, asking if it's really him because he looks different. Yulong stops suppressing his power. He spends most of his time now in his final form. Oh yeah, he forgot that only his friends would really know who he is right now. This is a completely new look for him. The man on the boat introduces himself. His name is Mr. Saiyan, an up-and-coming martial artist aiming to become the strongest in the world. The 24th World Tournament hasn't happened yet, and Mr. Satan wants to win that. Assuming that Yulong's gonna be there too, and he's gonna have to fight him in the end. Oh yeah, Yulong completely forgot about that. Honestly, he doesn't really care about going again, because he knows he'll win anyways. They'll just have him fight whoever the finalist is. He's not sure if Goku's gonna join either. Well, this is great for Mr. Satan. He's been dedicated to martial arts for a while, and he's been trying to seek Yulong for a while too. He saw his performance in the previous world tournaments. This guy's really powerful, and he really wants to train under him. Yulong's pretty hesitant, but Mr. Satan starts begging basically. But still, Yulong's not really too sure because he could tell Mr. Satan's kind of doing this out of pride, just for the glory of it. He'll need a reason to actually train him. It takes a lot of convincing, and Mr. Satan follows Yulong around for days, proving that he's going to be a dedicated student. He knows he can't be the world champ without Yulong's guidance. Yulong's the previous world champ. Yulong is an idol to Mr. Satan. Ever since he was a kid, growing up as a martial artist, he and his classmates would always idolize Yulong, especially with him kind of being regarded as a hero. That's why he's here and so persistent about it. And eventually, Yulong gives in. He'll train him. But he's going to be pretty strict, and also, he does have to divide some time with another student he has. Yulong isn't completely dedicated to teaching. He hasn't really taught before besides his friends. And that was mostly him just training them. They were already seasoned martial artists. Mr. Satan is too, but to a different extent. He probably doesn't even know what ki is. But he introduces Mr. Satan to his other student, Gohan. This confuses Mr. Satan because how is he going to teach a kid and him at the same time? This kid has to be the same age as his daughter. And he's training under Yulong too? Actually, he has trained Gohan a bit already. Normally, Gohan would be training with Goku. But he's here at Kame House because he's getting some guidance from Roshi and Yulong as well. Goku thinks it'll be a great opportunity, especially because right now he's focused on getting Super Saiyan controlled. He already has trained Gohan a lot too, so getting some new perspective from Yulong might be a good thing for him. The strangest part for Mr. Satan is that Gohan seems way stronger than him. Sure, not as experienced as a martial artist, but this kid's really powerful, like freakishly powerful. Also, he has a tail for some reason. That scares him. But speaking of Goku, let's see what he's been up to. More time passes and he continues working on Super Saiyan. He's worked with Yulong on this too. Yulong is still much stronger than Goku, but Goku's closing the gap kind of. It's also good because Yulong could be a great punching bag to test Super Saiyan with. Nothing needs to be held back against him. As for Yulong, he's actually been able to tap into his full power without transforming into that bulky state. This was surprisingly quick to adapt to, and it's part of the reason he uses his final form all the time. Now he could adjust his power really easily in this form. He could use a small fraction of it or 100% of it, and he could swap between that within an instant. He's barely in his first form anymore. Although, he kind of thinks his second form looks really cool, and it also makes him look taller, so he does prefer that. But he doesn't really use it as much because first of all it makes him look kind of intimidating, and second of all it's a big suppression of his power. But if there ever is a time where he's suppressed, he's usually in his second form now, just because of that. As for his third form, he never really touches that. That one's pretty terrifying. Also just a little too bulky for him. At least with his second and final forms, he looks human almost. Sure, maybe a bit intimidating in his second form, but handsome at least. With his final form also not being as scary. As a good person that's part of society, this is actually pretty important for him. He can't be freaking random strangers out. And after enough time has passed, Jiro finally activates some of the androids. He actually hasn't turned himself into an android here either. These androids have had some problems, mainly because he hasn't tested any others. With all the great data he's been getting, especially with the fact that he actually knows of Super Saiyan and Yulong's full power, Jiro's been pretty confident. So he stopped making androids after number 16, who he hasn't finished yet. And that confidence in the androids is a little bit of cockiness too. He activates his 3 most recent androids, and despite being fully mechanical, their sentience does pose some issues with their behavior, to the point where they think it's more effective to operate on their own, and they dispose of Jiro. Maybe he got a bit excited and activated them too soon. The only reason they even turn on him is because it's out of self-preservation. Jiro has been destroying his other androids, and these androids have data of that. They're loyal to Jiro's programming, but not Jiro himself. His desire for revenge got the best of him, and maybe he activated them a bit too early. So these 3 androids head out, aiming to kill Yulong and collect more data for the supercomputer in an effort to boost their own power as well as the next project, Cell. Once he awakens, they'll be unstoppable, but for now they'll prepare for his arrival. These 3 androids are androids 13, 14, and 15. Mr. Satan is training at Kame House one day with Gohan, sparring with him as Yulong watches from the roof. Mr. Satan's actually making some great progress. He can even control ki by now, not as effectively as Gohan, or anyone else for that matter. But still, this is way better than the average human already. Chaozu's also there on the island too, and he looks up in the sky and sees what looks to be people flying above them, but he can't sense their power. One of them's pretty large and one of them's kinda tiny. They fly directly above the island and then dart down, landing below, terrifying Mr. Satan. Yulong immediately tells everyone to get back because he can see the Red Ribbon Army logo on them. But he can't tell why he can't sense their power. When he destroyed the Red Ribbon Army, it was pretty impersonal. He didn't see the fact that they had androids. Thankfully, they spell it out for him. They're androids. Here to kill Yulong. Seeing this as a threat, Gohan then decides to fight. With Yulong about to stop him, but he's actually doing surprisingly well. He fights Android 15, and then Chaozu jumps in to fight Android 14.
Gohan.
Mr. Satan's pretty terrified and almost jumps into fight too, but it looks like those two have got it handled, so he sits back. But Yulong's a bit confused. If these are mechanical fighters made to kill him, how come Chaozu and Gohan are fending them off? These androids must not have enough data, combined with the fact that Gohan and Chaozu are much stronger than normal. Although the fight is pretty tough for them. They're fending them off, but still, it's pretty even, and the androids have infinite energy. Someone else then rockets over and finishes them off with 2 blasts. It's Goku, already in Super Saiyan. He sensed the fight going on and said it's good that they already had some people here, especially Yulong too. He was going to jump in if it got too dangerous, but after seeing Gohan's performance, he decided maybe it would be good to let him fight a bit. Goku says Krillin, Tenshinhan, and Yamcha are with King Kai right now, so they can't come here, and Yulong briefs Goku on the situation. That sounds pretty scary, but if it was just these two androids, and they were that weak, is it really that big of an issue? Mr. Satan is hiding behind Kame House right now, pretty scared.
Come on,
But then
Mr.
he notices
Satan.
something weird. Coming towards the house, it looks like there's a man flying on the water, and just like those two androids, he can't sense him. Mr. Satan yells out that another android's coming. They see a pretty bright light too, as he launches a blast right at Kame House. In the nick of time, everyone then jumps in front of it, defending against the blast. The android then comes to the island and then picks up some pieces from the other androids too. But the second he does this, Yulong then tackles him, launching the two of them across the ocean as Chaozu, Gohan, and Goku follow. As Yulong and Android 13 make it to land, 13 comments that he's pretty surprised. These fellows must be stronger than he realized. Thankfully, 14 and 15 sent all that data to the supercomputer. But while on the secluded island, as well as the times they were at Kami's lookout training there, those were times Dro couldn't get much data on them. The last bits of data he got were from the fights, the one with Cooler and the one with King Cold. So he got a lot of great info from those, but nothing else beyond that with their training. Yulong's able to fight off Android 13 pretty easily. The others then arrive and see it looks like he has this under control. Those other two were relatively weak, and Android 13 is definitely stronger,
Right.
but still it looks like Yulong's got this. Until Android 13 pulls up those parts that he picked up. There's a reason he got those. He didn't expect to have to use this so soon, but it looks like he has no choice.
My truck
He merges
ride.
his power with the other
If
two
you know, you
androids,
know.
giving birth to Super Android 13. Maybe separately the androids wouldn't have been an issue, but now that their powers combined, Yulong starts fighting him, and this is a problem. He has to use 100% of his power. And this alone still isn't doing anything to Android 13. Goku jumps in to help. And as they fight, Android 13's fending them off, as well as getting data on them too, adapting amidst the battle. Gohan and Chaozu try to help out as well, but Android 13 fends them all off. This is exactly why he wasn't loyal to Jiro. Jiro should have just made him like this from the get-go. Look how strong he is. He's the strongest thing in creation. He hits Yulong with a powerful punch, breaking his arm, then turning to Goku and doing the same to him. But the two continue fighting and ignore it. It would be great if they had some senzu beans here, but
should
this
be-
isn't going to stop them. Yulong tries to focus, trying to place all his ki in his arm, and slowly, he's able to heal that arm. He noticed that when Cooler transformed, he was able to heal a bit, and it seemed like he was able to do the same thing, at least to some extent. Yulong hasn't just been focused on power, he's been focused on other techniques like this too. So to some extent, he could heal his own injuries now. There's a limit to it, and it's a bit slow and requires a lot of
No,
focus.
fuck, Frieza can
But
do
as long
that.
as it's not anything too dire, he could at least do this during battle. As for Goku, thankfully he does have someone to help heal him. Yulong buys some time as Chaozu then goes over to Goku. He's trained with Kami a lot, and he's been kind of working on his psychic abilities too. Before it was basically just telekinesis that he used a lot, but now he has a lot more support abilities as well. He can't fully heal someone, but he could speed up the healing process in the body with psychic control. It's not as potent as a senzu bean, and it does drain the energy of the person he's using it on, but still, it's pretty useful and he aims to improve this. But he also has something else he was working on, and he was discussing with Gohan the fact that he wanted to use this during the battle. He hasn't tried it out in an actual combat setting yet, but here it could be useful. For a brief moment, he could boost everyone's power, but it has to be timed perfectly. It's basically like applying Kaioken to someone. Goku actually did think about using Kaioken with Super Saiyan, but never got around to it. But that's besides the point now anyways. This seems pretty helpful. An extra boost on top of what he's already got should be pretty nice. But Chaozu reminds them, it's a little draining and he can only do it temporarily, at least as of now. But he's going to use it on the other thing. As Yulong continues fighting, he then notices a resurgence of power. Goku feels empowered as well, and same for Gohan. For this brief moment in the battle, Chaozu brings out 200% of their power.
Damn.
They don't even feel injured at the moment, but they have to make use of it quick. Goku and Gohan jump in to help Yulong. 13's completely taken aback because he didn't expect something like this. Why are they stronger all of a sudden? He can adapt to their attacks, but not this.
You ain't
Even the
that
supercomputer's
strong, man.
confused. The three continuously attack Android 13, and right as Chaozu is about to lose focus of it, they launch their final attack. A simultaneous 200% Turtle School Kamehameha, completely destroying Android 13.
Okay.
But just like Chaozu said, this really did tire them out, and immediately they collapse to the ground, tired but victorious. Even Chaozu's a bit tired out too. He hopes he could improve that in the future, but Goku says he's really impressed. He didn't know Chaozu could do something like that. Same for Yulong with his limited regeneration. Not only is everyone around him growing stronger, but they're getting great support techniques as well. There is more to being a great fighter than just raw strength.
Right.
And Goku can't wait to see where everyone goes next. Of course, Cell is still dormant too, but he won't arrive for a while. Still, the supercomputer is working with him and feeding all this data to him. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you
In the seventh part of What If Frieza Was Good.
Part 7.
A few years pass. Out in space, Babidi is trying to plan what his next move will be. He has to find someone strong to help him revive Boo. He needs the energy, but he can't really find it anywhere. Although, he does have one good target. Earth seems to have some strong warriors now, so he could just use that planet. There should be enough energy there to help revive Boo. He's been going from planet to planet and hasn't had much success. Investigating most places, there's not really anything. Until one day, he and Deborah come across something interesting. or rather something comes to them. Within the same solar system they're in, Babidi could feel some sort of strong presence, and it's coming their way. It seems that someone can sense them. This could be a good opportunity, and Dabur gets ready. They were about to head out and go to those powers themselves, but instead, just let it come to them. 3 spherical space pods come through the atmosphere, and 3 Saiyans step off: Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. They've been out in space trying to grow stronger. They weren't really too sure what to do after their encounter with Yulong, although they've grown much stronger since then. They've been in this solar system recently, and they sensed Dabur's power pop up. It was hard to not notice it. They thought it might have been a threat coming their way, and now seeing these two up close, they wonder if these freaks are some part of Cooler's army. Even without Cooler or King Cold, there still has been some activity within the army, but nothing's really been happening with it otherwise. It's not really a friendly encounter, and it starts to escalate, with the 3 Saiyans then transforming, showing off Super Saiyan. It took them a while, and they only just unlocked this, but still, it dramatically increases their power and really helps them in battle. Babidi says they should be really helpful, and sends Dabur in to fight them. Just from this fight alone he can gather energy, but Dabur kinda needs to fight them regardless, which is no problem for him. Even with Super Saiyan, it seems to not be enough. Dabur just is that strong. With the 3 of them combined, it makes it a little closer at least, but they're relying too much on their combined power, and they can't really fight together too well as a group. They like to do their own thing, which works against them here, especially because they kind of go one by one. Raditz steps up first, gets his ass whooped, then Nappa, same thing, and then Vegeta, and then the 3 try to fight together, and still, they collectively lose. They intended to go back to Earth to defeat Frieza and Kakarot. Even with his memory loss, they don't trust Frieza existing, and they need to prove that they're superior to Kakarot as well. But now they've encountered their first obstacle. It looks like they're not going to get to Earth anytime soon. Dabur defeats the 3 of them, and then Babidi steps in. He got a good amount of energy from that, but he doesn't want to waste it just yet. And he just had a really good idea. He could turn them into his minions. But he has an even more wicked idea than that. He tries to take control, and they're very easy to take control of due to their evilness. Sure, they might have changed a bit, but barely enough. Not only will it be harder for them to resist Babidi, but it's going to be easier to give into that temptation of power. But the other plan Babidi has is to have them fight each other. Sure, having them as minions is great, but what if he just speeds up the process and has them fight? Instead of waiting for someone to come his way, have them fight each other. The Saiyans aren't fully under Babidi's spell, but it's not like Majin and Vegeta either where he could do whatever he pleases. They were much more susceptible to his spell due to their evil, and much weaker. So Babidi actually has a greater control on them. But the idea he has in mind is to just have them fight each other. He won't face much resistance from that because he's essentially training them after giving them great power. They're much more impressionable thanks to that. It benefits them as training this way, but also slowly gives energy to Babidi. And Dabur commends Babidi. This is a splendid loophole. Also, he's glad he's not being used as a punching bag for it. Babidi thinks this might be a slower process, but it should be able to work. He thinks that if he can turn the possession on and off, then he can gather energy from them. Like for example, have Vegeta fight Raditz, and turn off the spell for Raditz so he can get energy from Raditz. Or if that doesn't work, worst case, he trains them up even further, and then uses them as batteries, just using the energy suction device. So if the first option doesn't work, the second one definitely will. Either way, it's a great option because it's a fast way to get energy.
Trying to get niggas up.
And Dabur is sure to keep them in check as well. Around the same time, Yulong's at Kame House. He's continuing his training with Mr. Satan. He actually won the most recent tournament, and eventually after winning, he asked Yulong if he could help train someone else. Yulong doesn't really want to take on any other students, but after seeing Mr. Satan's success, he actually is pretty inclined to do so. Mr. Satan's become a really strong warrior, and now he brings another student to the island, his daughter Videl. Oh, Yulong didn't expect another kid. So now he has 3 students and 2 of them are kids. He doesn't want this to turn into a daycare. But he gets along well with Gohan, and having Videl there seems to be a good thing. She shows some promise. Gohan and Videl of course become friends here. Although Gohan doesn't spend all his time training with Yulong, he spends a lot more time training with Goku now. He's achieved Super Saiyan by himself.
Okay.
And by this point in the story, he and Goku have ascended to Super Saiyan 2. Partially thanks to Yulong, also helping both of them out. He's unlocked some great new power for himself too, but hasn't really had a chance to use it yet. Someone then teleports onto the island, specifically requesting Yulong's help. He introduces himself, the Supreme Kai Shin. He's known about Yulong for a while, especially with the fact that he's Frieza, or at least formerly was Frieza. And knowing now that he's a good guy, maybe he could help out here. And he explains what's going on. A threat named Majin Buu is about to be revived, and they need someone to stop him. Yulong's the strongest person out there, so they need his help. Shin's grateful that he dealt with Cooler and King Cold, but Yulong says that wasn't for any particular reason. They came to attack him, and he was just defending himself. He didn't seek them out to be a hero, he actually avoided the conflict there. And Shin understands that, but he explains how big of a threat Majin Buu will be if he's revived. They've been monitoring Babidi for a while, and he seems to have just stopped in one place, which signifies that he might be gathering energy. They don't have all the details just yet, because they don't want to get too close and spoil their operation. They're getting intel on him, but they can't get too much. He has a hunch Babidi's going to make a move soon, but he doesn't know about the Saiyan specifically. And you know what? Yulong will go for it. It seems like this guy's going to just destroy everything regardless, so it looks like he'll have to step in either way, and it's better to solve it now than later. Plus, it might be a good challenge for him. He wonders if he could finally use his full strength in a battle. Cooler and Android 13 were the only ones who made him do that. But Cooler was definitely the bigger challenge. By the time Android 13 came around, he was defeated pretty quickly, and Yulong has grown far beyond that former limit. So, now it's time to test out that power. Shin takes him to the planet Bobity's on. And of course, Bobity's pretty taken aback. He didn't expect to see the Supreme Kai here, but it makes sense because he wasn't really lying low. Although it's interesting who he brought along with him. He's been studying Cooler's army for a while because that could have been a great target. And he actually does know about Yulong. They must be really desperate, but it's fine. Any moment now, Boo will be revived. A key blast is then sent from the distance, aimed at Shin. Yulong quickly steps in the way, guarding against it. He's barely damaged by it, not even really phased, and Dabura then flies over from the horizon, starting to attack Yulong. Shin tells him to end the fight quickly, and Bobity interjects. What, is he worried about Boo being revived? It's already too late. Thanks to Dabura's intervention, that gave him just a little bit more energy. He's at 99% right now. The first strategy he had in mind kind of worked, but he ended up switching to making the Saiyans batteries, and Bobity then teleports himself away. With a single blast, Yulong kills Dabura, and then flies around trying to find Bobity. It's a shame he has to do it like this, but it's not a big deal. Bobity gives a little of his own energy to Boo, with the meter going from 99% to 100. A giant cloud of steam explodes over the horizon. Yulong can clearly see it, and he rushes over with Shin. And Shin's confused. How did he get unleashed so quickly? What has he been doing here? It would have taken a lot of energy to revive Boo. He only stopped on this planet a few weeks ago. And now Boo's already here? Well, looking at how quickly Yulong defeated Dabura, maybe Boo won't be too big of an issue. Of course, Boo is way stronger than Dabura, but he doesn't really have a gauge of Yulong's power. He defeated Dabura in one shot with no effort, so it will be interesting to see how this pans out. Yulong arrives and sees Bobity laughing as Boo's revived, standing there in all his glory. This guy's kind of annoying. Yulong lifts up a finger, launching a death beam at Bobity. Quickly he throws up a barrier, but the beam is strong enough to go through the barrier, with Bobity feeling a microsecond of fear, realizing that he's dead, as the beam goes right through his head. Shin's a bit terrified, but still amazed. They should be in good hands with Yulong. Yulong cracks his neck and gets ready for the battle, with Boo also seeming in good spirits. The two begin their fight, and Yulong adapts pretty quickly, learning that Boo could regenerate quick, and Shin watches on completely intrigued. The way Yulong fights is amazing. He seems to be a master fighter in general. Everything about the way he fights is amazing. He has no wasted movements at all. He fights so calmly, but at the same time with purpose. His attacks are delivered with calmness, but it has the full force of his power behind them. It's just natural to him. And Yulong turns to Shin just wanting to confirm something. Does Boo have any transformation or something? As far as Shin knows, he doesn't. Well, he's actually supposed to be in a different form, Kid Boo, but Shin doesn't know if he's going to transform beyond this. Yulong says that's a shame. He wanted a chance to use his full power, but doesn't really have an opportunity here. Shin asks what he's saying, and Yulong says that he's holding back. And as he is right now, he's going to be able to win here. He just wanted to see if the fight could become more interesting before he finishes it off right now. Quickly, he charges a Kamehameha, fanning the blast out so it completely encapsulates Boo. A blast so powerful that Shin is knocked back, and he's not even close to Yulong right now. The entire planet's shaking, and it feels like the whole solar system is illuminated by the light of it. With that one blast, Majin Buu is defeated. How did Yulong get so strong? Well, it really comes down to his mind by this point. As we discussed earlier in the series, he had trouble accessing his latent potential. He wasn't really himself, and it was a pretty long journey for him, but eventually he came to terms with himself. He's mastered his own mind, body, and heart. He's completely in tune with his spirit. He has no doubts about who he is, what his purpose is, everything. He has a completely refined mentality. He accepts himself, and even with his tumultuous past, he found his own identity and the importance of that. He knows who Yulong is, and he's confident about that. Combine that with the mastery over everything else, and he's finally been able to harness that potential that he has, no longer held back by amnesia, self-doubt, or his past. Although, it's a shame that he couldn't use his full power here. He really wanted to use his new form against Boo, but that could wait for later. Shin takes him back to Earth and is grateful for his help, and Yulong thanks him for the early warning. Better to deal with it now than have to deal with it later on Earth. It was pretty cool to meet another god, even if Yulong was way stronger than that god. Although this won't be the last god he meets. Much earlier than normal, years before normal actually, Beerus awakens from his slumber. He's a bit groggy because that nap was kind of short, but Whis reminds him. He set these alarms for now for a specific reason. Oraclefish told him of a rival arriving at this time. And yeah, Beerus actually remembers now. It seems to be something related to the Cold Empire. Before he went to sleep, he actually knew of a strong warrior on Earth. All along, he knew that his rival would be Frieza. Of course, he had a chat with Cooler before destroying Planet Vegeta. And he knew everything about Cold's army, and the fact that Cooler actually had a brother, one who was supposed to be stronger than him. He would have sought out Frieza sooner, but he wanted to wait a bit. Especially because Oraclefish told him that by this point he would be a true rival, with Whis telling him everything that Yulong's been up to, and the fact that he's not Frieza now. It seems that time on Earth really changed him. Plus, he has a strong group of friends too, including a Saiyan there. What an interesting development. He quickly heads to Earth, finding his way to Kame House. Mr. Satan and Videl are terrified. They just want to train. What's with all the gods showing up here? But Yulong's not too taken aback. He's pretty cordial with Beerus and Whis, and they return that. Roshi and Chaozu are with Videl and Mr. Satan, watching from inside the house. Roshi wonders what it is about Yulong that attracts all these gods here, and just all these strong fighters in general. Chaozu thinks it's pretty amazing, actually, to be so strong that people are coming from all over the universe just to face him. At least that's what he thinks is going to happen here with Beerus and Whis. Why else would they be here? Beerus says he's honestly surprised. Someone from the Cold Empire survived. But Yulong says he swore them off a while ago. Actually, he didn't even know about them for decades, and by the time he did, he disowned them, so he never really was part of that. By blood, yes, he's related to them, but he's an Earthling now. Beerus understands he goes by the name Yulong now, too. Truly a testament to the fact that he's not his brother. And that should be interesting. Someone with the power of Cooler or King Cold, but a gentle heart and mind. Not to mention, he beat Cooler and King Cold. Beerus really wants to face him. So the two of them go up into the sky above Kame House and begin fighting. He tells Yulong they could skip the formalities and just go to full power. Well, Beerus isn't going to go full power, but Yulong can. He wants to make this quick and try out some food here on Earth. He knows nothing about it, but he smelled something good from inside Kame House. He just wants to see Yulong's full strength. And Yulong's not really sure, but against someone like Beerus, he should be fine. He can't sense Beerus's power. But if he really is that strong, he should be able to give Yulong a good fight and handle his full strength. He's made this power his own. He's turned his curse into a gift. And now, this form that he's in right now, it's not even considered his final form. This is simply his true state. He's molded his 100% power into this. And this is just him. But now he has an actual transformation beyond it. Not a suppression, not full power, but a completely separate form. And he's really excited to show it off. It reminds him of Goku, honestly. A man who's pushed him so far in life. He's glad to have his own transformation just like Goku.
And you know, thinking of Goku makes him wonder what happened with those Saiyans. Probably nothing to worry about. He's sure they'll cross paths again someday.
He begins powering up, and there's an immense increase in power. Even Beerus is impressed. Not much changes about his physical appearance except the color of him. And the transformation isn't really too explosive. But the aura around him is dense, almost tangible, taking on a greenish teal color. A pleasant and soothing hue. And Yulong fully reveals the new form to Beerus. It's a strange form with a greenish tint to it, welcoming Beerus to finally fight him. And with that, we leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about?
What? Hell, Frieza getting powerful, and he got a new form, so he ain't doing Golden Frieza. Okay, I can deal with that. Shout out to Saiyan for the video. I'm fucking sleepy. Check out the last video right here. Check out another video right here, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.